Hey guys, I'm Sarah Lavonne and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am here in Minnesota awaiting the arrival of my sweet nephew. And so as we've been getting things ready, I wanted to share with you something that I have done special for clients and that I am making for my sister for her labor. Today, I am gonna show you a recipe from the book, The First 40 Days by Heng U. And it's one of my favorite book recommendations, so I will link it down below. But today, we are gonna make a recipe from there that I like to call labor aid because it's like lemonade, but for your labor. But in the book, they call it a ginger lemonade switchel. It's gonna be really good for you to give you all the energy and the electrolytes and the hydration and the antioxidants that you need to get you through your labor, keep you energized, and then eventually help you have your baby. Make sure you subscribe down below, give it a like, share it with a friend, and then let's get mixing. This recipe, like I said, comes from the First 40 Days book, which look how beautiful this book is, by the way. And in here, it talks about the postpartum period mostly and like the first 40 days after delivery. But they have this recipe in here that I have made for previous clients and now I'm making for my sister. So I'm actually gonna read you their definition or their description of what this drink is, and then we're gonna get into all the goodies and we're actually gonna make it together. So if you feel like making it, you can pull up all your things. Everything will be linked in the description box down below with the recipe and a link to the book so you can get all the things and prepare to be hydrated during your labor, which actually helps your labor, okay? So this ginger lemonade switchel says, traditionally called Haymaker's Punch, this drink or variations of it was the thirst quencher preferred for centuries by farmers in the fields. That's kind of cool. Hydrating and energizing, this makes for the perfect labor aid drink. It's also packed with antioxidants, probiotics, minerals, and anti-inflammatory properties, which is really important for your labor and postpartum recovery. The modern day edition of Trace Mineral Drops, which I have here, available at health food stores, boosts the electrolyte value, helping with contractions and energy. Bach Rescue Remedy is a wonderful flower remedy that supports the body and mind in times of stress. This recipe makes about 4 servings. Feel free to double, and I would say definitely double this recipe for your labor and birth because really this is not gonna be enough hydration for you throughout your birth. Now, if you like it, then double it. If you're like, it's something to sip on, to give a variation. If you're not a water drinker, which I'm like the worst water drinker in the world, this is a great alternative, but you can also do like vitamin water, Gatorade, even juices here and there are going to fuel your labor. Now, let's talk about hydration for your labor and birth, and actually pre-labor and birth. Hydration is so incredibly important. I joke that most pregnant people, and I would say like most regular non-pregnant people, are typically walking around somewhat dehydrated all the time. And you think about if you have a headache or if you're just not feeling right or you're low energy or something, you pound back some water or you go to the hospital and you get a bag of IV fluids, you're gonna feel so much better. And so, especially for your labor during contractions, we want you feeling your best. We want you energized. We wanna avoid aches and pains. We already have like the one ache and pain of your uterus. We wanna avoid headaches. All of that you can set yourself up for avoiding through proper hydration. Now, in the hospital, some hospitals will put you on a clear liquid diet. This would be mostly up to your provider, so you can ask your provider what they do. Clear liquids just means you can see through it. So this would technically be considered a clear liquid if you strain out the lemon juice. So this is not clear, okay? It's cloudy, but if I were to put it through like a mini strainer, then it wouldn't have the chunks in it and it would be considered a clear liquid. So that's something to consider. Now, for drinking at home, that's mostly where we're gonna do it unless you wanna like lug some jugs to the hospital, which you can do. I don't think that's probably something that we'll do. This will probably be for laboring at home. Then it doesn't matter. And in fact, I really like the pulp. The pulp adds extra nutrient value to the drink. And so up to you on whether or not you wanna do that. But hydration, let alone is gonna set you up for just feeling good, but also let's think about your uterus. Your uterus is a super sensitive muscle, and that muscle, when it's dehydrated, it's going to contract harder, but not do as much on your cervix. And so a lot of times on hot days in the hospital, like people be at Disneyland in California, or they've been out at the beach or something, lots of mamas would come in with preterm contractions, rule out preterm labor when really they're just dehydrated. And so one of my biggest tips for you throughout your pregnancy is really to pump your fluids, make sure you stay hydrated, and then especially throughout labor, it's important to be hydrated because otherwise your uterus is gonna contract, it's gonna feel horrible, and it's not gonna be doing as much to your cervix, okay? Also, as contractions get started, another tip I have for you is drink literally a liter of fluid, which you can look on like a water bottle or something, like a big water bottle, chug some fluid/water and see how your uterus feels. Because especially towards the end of your pregnancy, as you're having those Braxton Hicks, if they start to intensify, they might actually be intensifying because you're a little bit dehydrated, okay? So we wanna be hydrated, and then throughout labor, we wanna keep you hydrated. That bulks up the volume in your body, helps with blood flow to the baby, and blood equals oxygen to the baby, which is super important. And so partners, one of my tips for you, when in doubt, between contractions, grab a straw, grab like a, probably not the pitcher, you don't wanna hand her the pitcher, but if you have like a glass or something, then grab a glass and just give her sips of this labor aid drink, give her sips of water, give her sips of something to keep her hydrated through her early labor at home. Once she's in the hospital, if you have an IV, it's probably not quite as important because that's gonna keep you regularly hydrated. You really need to be intentional about keeping yourself hydrated, about filling yourself with the fluids that you need. And then the benefit of all of this is it adds on those electrolytes. It's easy to digest. Now, the one risk would be because it has lemon juice in it, if you really struggle with heartburn, you might wanna sip it slowly. You might wanna dilute it a little bit. You might wanna lower the amount of lemon in it. You could try orange. You could try some other citrus fruit if you're interested, and then see if it causes heartburn, then we don't want that. But typically I haven't really seen it to cause much heartburn, but you know yourself, okay? So that would be like the one kind of risky thing with this drink. Otherwise, you're gonna get tons of antioxidants, you're gonna get vitamin C, other vitamins, there's added electrolytes, so I'll talk about this. There's anti-stress homeopathy in this that I'll tell you about as well, and I'll link down below. And so natural sugars, all the things you need to keep you going through your labor, because also you're not gonna probably be that hungry either. And so keeping yourself hydrated, but giving yourself a little bit of calories and healthy calories is gonna be really good for you, okay? So that's my spiel. Let's get to cooking together. I feel like I have my own Food Network show, which is very fun. And I am no chef. I am not a formally trained chef. I do cook, I do bake, and I do enjoy it. So, but I am no perfect person at that. So I have prepped all of the supplies here. And so we're gonna start with some hot water, and we want hot water because we're gonna dissolve 1/4 cup of raw honey. This actually came from the farms of North Dakota, which I have family roots, that's Minnesota in me, in North Dakota. And so we have like honey for days over here, but I put 1/4 cup in here, and then I boiled some hot water. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of hot water to my pitcher. That's at least 1 liter because that's about the size of the recipe. And so this is what I'm gonna put it in. You could put it in a jug, you could put it in a Tupperware, you could put it in whatever the heck you want, but you need something big enough to mix your fluids in. And so I'm gonna add 1 cup of hot boiling water, which I have on the stove here, add my honey, mix it up, and then I'll be right back. So I'm just dissolving the honey mixture meaning just literally just honey and water to make kind of this like concentrate. And the hot water helps it to dissolve a little bit faster than would cold. You could do it in cold, but it's just, you're gonna be mixing for a hot second. So it looks like everything is dissolved now. So I have this like honey water basically going here, that's gonna be my base. So then I have pulled some apple cider vinegar and literally just put a teaspoon in this cute little dish here. So I'm gonna add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. That's gonna give it a little bit of an acidic zing with the benefits of apple cider vinegar. I have 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger. This is a big one because ginger is gonna calm nausea during labor. It's gonna soothe the stomach. And so I just bought some ginger root. If you've never worked with ginger root, it's super simple. All you have to do is, I usually just cut off like the nasty end. You want to find yourself a fat piece of ginger. Like I know when you go into the grocery section, there's like, has all these little arms and stuff on it, and you can get really long skinny ones. If you get a fat one, you're gonna have more meat to work with because you do have to peel it. So I just peeled off a little piece of ginger, and then I took a grater, and I've even used before like a Parmesan grater, whatever kind of grater you have, no matter what size. It's gonna like break it down into a saucy, like smushy, pasty kind of like mixture or whatever. So it's just, very potent, okay? So I just grated a bunch of ginger, 1 teaspoon of ginger, and I'm gonna plop that into my mixture here. Woo, that really plopped. All right, and then just mix it up. I also like to do this in the hot water as well because I do feel like, whether or not this is true, I feel like the ginger in hot water, it kind of like releases its, you know, smelly, yummy goodness. I could be wrong, that may not actually be a thing, but you know, I'm trying. And then I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt. That's what's gonna make the water more of like an electrolyte, pH balanced water, more like saline. So when we give you an IV, we don't put direct water into your body because that wouldn't be compatible with your blood. That 1/4 of a teaspoon is not gonna make your water salty at all. It's just gonna kind of balance out the water. And then I'm gonna add the lemon juice. So what I did with the lemons is I freshly squeezed them. I used my mom's little like hand juicer thing here. And so it took me about 2.5 smaller lemons to get to 1/2 cup of fresh lemon juice. And again, if you're gonna bring this to the hospital, just so you don't end up with issues with your nurses being like, you can't drink that, I would strain it. So put it through like a really thin little strainer, throw it in there. We're not planning on that. In fact, my mom will probably enjoy this as well. And so I'm just gonna put in the 1/2 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. This is gonna be that's really what the flavor comes from and what makes it more of a lemonade, and then brings you all of those vitamins and nutrients and minerals from the lemons, benefits of that to your labor aid. So we have apple cider vinegar, freshly squeezed lemon juice, 1/2 cup of that, 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon of sea salt, and then we get to our special sauce, extra drops to add to the water. So the first one is called Trace Minerals Concentrace Drops, the most powerful, all-natural, pH balancing trace minerals in the world. It's vegan, gluten-free, they call it Liquimins. And the idea with this is that this is what makes your liquids, whatever you drink, more like Gatorade. So rather than drinking water, Gatorade has those extra electrolytes in it. And so this is gonna have magnesium, chloride, sodium, potassium, sulfate, lithium, boron in it. It is safe for pregnancy. All we're gonna do is add 3 drops to the mixture because it's a concentrated solution. Okay, so literally, I think that was 3, maybe 4. That's it. Pinch to grow an inch, okay? So I actually added 5. We're gonna mix that in. And then the last one that's super interesting is Bach or Botch. Not sure, probably Bach. Rescue Remedy, which is natural stress relief. We know that labor is stressful. We know you might feel stressed about your labor. And so this homeopathy, the idea behind homeopathy is it's basically an Eastern medicine practice that is safe for pregnancy for the most part. Now talk to your provider before you add this. I have to say that as a disclaimer as always. But it kind of, homeopathy is going to encourage your body to heal itself. And so this is going to support your stress through labor. So we like that. We like that for life. You can also add this to your water. It does not have a flavor. I wanna say it doesn't have a flavor, but it has like a little mini flavor. You're not gonna taste it in here. So all you need is 3 generous drops. I'm adding 1/4, pinch to grow an inch, to add to and really pump up your labor aid drink. So I have all my ingredients in here with my like concentrate here, okay? So this is not enough to drink, and this would be very sour and tart and intense to drink, so we need to dilute it. Now, a couple of options here. You can dilute it with just basic water. So if you're gonna add water, you're gonna add 3 cups of extra water to this mixture. How I like to spice it up is I like to add sparkling water to it. Now, you wouldn't do this if you were gonna put it in the fridge and wait to drink it, because this is gonna last a few days in the fridge. And so if my sister doesn't go into labor in the next couple of days, that's okay, we'll drink it. We'll make another batch in early labor probably. So right now, I think maybe I'll make my mom drink it and we have lots of batches. We've already gone through 2 already. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of regular water here to get us started to dilute it. And you can do a mixture of sparkling, regular water. You can just do regular water if you're gonna throw it in the fridge. And then if you add sparkling, I would say you can add a flavored water. If you have unflavored water, I would probably choose that, just because then it actually tastes like lemonade, but we don't have regular flavored water, or like regular meaning no flavored water. We only have multiple flavors, so I chose grapefruit. Grapefruit's my favorite. It felt like it would be a good complement to this. I think I'm feeling the sparkling. So I'm gonna add this entire can, see where we're at, then add a little bit, probably more water to the top, or not, and then we are close to done. So I know for me, I do like my lemonade pretty strong. Some other people like it a little bit more watered down. Up to you what you think. But then you have your delicious, and actually I'm gonna grab some ice. 1 second. I should have put the ice in first, but I didn't, so we're just improvising, flexing and flowing here. All right, so I have my delicious looking, and it's not clear because of the pulp, but it works for clear liquid, especially if you strain out the pulp. Laborade here, I'm gonna taste it. Oh yeah, that is really mild actually. I think it's the salt that brings down the acidity, and then probably the concentrated trace minerals and the honey that brings down the acidity of the drink. So it actually, a lot of lemonades taste really tart, whereas this doesn't taste tart. It doesn't actually taste tart at all. In fact, I wouldn't add any more water to this. I feel like the combination is probably really solid. But you can always taste it out, see how much or how little of the water that you want to dilute the mixture down. The other option you have is make that little concentrate that I made, throw it in a mason jar so it's sealed, it can be in your fridge, and then when you're ready to drink it, you can just add however much to your own taste, or make a pitcher when you're actually in labor. So you have lots and lots of options, but then you have something special to drink that's specifically for your labor, tailored towards your needs as you're going through labor, so that you can stay hydrated and energized and excited and positive, and your partner has something to give you, and you feel like you have a little extra special cocktail throughout your labor. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Get your ginger and your lemons and your minerals and your honey and your waters out. Make yourself a special drink through labor. Let me know what you think in the comment box down below. And if you actually do it, make sure you tag me on Instagram, and we can celebrate together that you're in labor and that you're ready for labor and that you have your special cocktail. We can cheers together over on Instagram. If you don't subscribe already, make sure you subscribe down below. And then, as usual, I have lots and lots of stuff over on my website. If you're looking for an online childbirth class, I got you. If you need a VBAC class, I got you. Coping with labor, infant safety and CPR. If you want to set up a one-on-one call with me, if you want me to hold your hand through labor, physically or virtually, I can do that. Make sure you check out my website. Everything is in the description box down below. And then until next time, don't forget to flex and flow, and I will see you soon. Bye. What do I do? So, okay. Oh. Recipe, like I said, comes from the first 40 days book. Gross. All I smell is apple cider vinegar. And this is way harder. This is why you have me on the teleprompter. Okay. Literally, it's kind of like a sauce that you drink. Really need to be intentional about keeping yourself fluidified. That's not a word. You just, 1 liter, 1 quart. 1 liter and 1 quart are not the same. It wouldn't be absorbable. It wouldn't be absorbable. That's not a word, I don't think. Hey guys, I'm Lavonne, and welcome